Anthropomorphism, a big word for a simple thing, the attribution of human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal, or object. Let's talk about it. First things first, the easiest task. Find some references for the object, animal, or whatever it is you're trying to give human characteristics to. This is going to be important. Second, create a human pose for it. Starting off immediately by adding these other attributes might end up making the anatomy look wrong. Third, make descriptive key points. What I mean by this is if you're going with a blueberry object, name blueberry on the side of your drawing so that you can remember it while you're going through it. Fourth, start using those references and the key points you made to change the human pose that you created. Fifth, make sure your piece matches those descriptive points. After you've finished your drawing, you want to go through and readdress all of those points you did and check that they follow what you wanted. For this piece, I chose to show you guys a little bit about what I decided to go with, which was an object, a food piece, a lemon blueberry buttermilk cake. I wanted it to be a birthday cake kind of piece, so I added candles to it. Feel free to exaggerate or add a little bit to it. It doesn't have to be perfectly to the object. Now what I did was I made her hair all curly in these tight curls to reference like frosting, the swirls on the top of the cake and things like that. I added little bangles on her arms and her leg for the blueberries and little lemon designs on her tights and her skirt. I made sure that the coloring followed the colors and the references that I wanted for the cake so that it would be similar. Afterwards, I went through, checked my key points, and made sure that it followed them. Next, I wanted to show you an example that I did for animal creation. So for this one, obviously, I made the human pose first, after using some references for that, and then next, I will go into references for the animal pose. Using these references to make the ears, the eyes, the attributes of a sheep. Here are some of those references that I used to emulate and really capture the feeling that I wanted for this piece. Remember that when you're making a pose for this character, that some of the things that you made for the human pose might need to be changed. As you might have just caught, I had to change the legs because they didn't quite feel right when I added the hooves. So, because they don't have the same flexibility or bendability as a human foot. Now, what I also want to talk about is that when you are creating the pose for your character, really think about the features of your character. For the birthday cake, I went for something soft and happy. And for this one, I went with something mellow. And then in the future, I'm going to show you some of the other ones that I did. I also have to change a few other things about the human body that I've added here, like the fur, the fluffiness around her legs, and her upper chest. For her hair, I also wanted to emulate a little bit about how sheep have these fluffy, flamboyant coats, so I made her hair nice and fluffy as well. Going with softer colors and trying to make her feel kinder. For this one, I also went with another animalistic type of creature that I wanted to turn humanoid. For this one, it's a dragon that I'm emulating here. I went with a stronger pose, and as you can see with the clothing, I also went with sharper angles and things like that. I really wanted to emulate the strength that a dragon has and the sharpness that they have. I also have references here for the scales and the ears, the horns, and things like that. Here I am fixing up the pose. I usually start with grayscale so that I can really make sure that the values are correct with my piece. Making sharper shadows for this one in order to really embody the powerfulness that a dragon beholds. Later on, I will use gradients in order to color her. really deepening up those shadows so that they stand out. And now I'm adding the scales and more value. And here are the colors. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully I see you guys next time. Bye-bye.